All right. So what did we learn in our previous session? Have you practiced? Did you get a chance to practice those methods? Any questions in previous session? We learned about string reversal. How do we do string reversal? We can do that using caret, substring, right? And then also convert it to 2-char array and then reprint in reverse. So these are all the things that we learned from string reversal. Why do we do this string reversal? In cases where we want to check some strings are palindrome or not. If you want to check a string is a palindrome, then we have to use this. Then we also learned about string conversions, that is from lowercase to uppercase, uppercase to lowercase, and also trimming the extra spaces. Okay, 2 uppercase, 2 lowercase, and trim. These are the methods that we learned in our previous session. Okay, and then this also we learned using different ways, finding occurrences. So how many counts you can give, either a character or a string, whatever you want to find. So we found that using different methods that we already learned, one using split and the other using index of, right? So these are the things that we learned in our previous session to find out the number of occurrences, finding the string reversal and string conversion operations, right? So these are the things that we learned in our previous session. Oops. These are yeah. So these are the things that we learned in our previous session. Now, did you get a chance to practice? If you're not practicing, you will never be able to do it. You have to find some time. I'm really saying this. You have to find some time to do these tasks. Okay, then only you'll get hands-on with Java, then only you'll get hands-on with Selenium. Otherwise, you are not going to work, or you will not be able to work on Java and Selenium. When you keep your hands on your keyboard, your hands will not move. If you know these methods and if you understand this, how to write, then you can type it easily. Okay, so please try to practice regularly. Please try to do the task whatever I give you. Fine. So our today's topic is new topic, which is a little theoretical, and then we'll go for some practical. Okay, which is about classes and objects. You are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, Nikhil.
Okay, so our today's topic is classes and objects. So every programming language, whatever the programming language that you take in the world, will have 3 principles. See, some people think that programming language, JavaScript is a programming language, or VB script is a programming language. No, scripting languages are different. I see Angie joined 2 times. Yeah. So every programming languages has 3 principles, that is create, reuse, and extend. So there is a little difference between programming language and scripting language. Okay, that you can Google and find out what is the difference between them. So not the scripting languages, but the programming languages has these 3 principles: create, reuse, and extend. Okay, so we already learned till now how do we create programs, right? Now we are going to learn how to reuse them and how to extend them. Okay, extend is part of object-oriented programming concept. Now reuse is part of classes and objects and methods. Okay, so creation is nothing but simple programs. We already created around 15 classes and all of these as programs, right? There is some program that is running as part of this thing. So this is nothing but creation of program. Everywhere, anywhere, anytime you can create programs. Okay. Now we have to also see what is reuse and what is extend. Okay. So what is reuse? You might have already known. If you want to write some, if you want to execute some queries on SQL, what you'll do? You'll write in .sql file and then save it. Whenever you want, you'll just open that SQL file and then run it, right? So you're storing it for future usage. And I'm not sure about stored procedures. You create some stored procedures and you are going to call that stored procedure from another stored procedure, right? You'll be able to do that, right? Some sub-stored procedures are subqueries. You create them as a part of subquery and then join them with the parent query or main query. So you are going to create some subqueries like that because you are going to use that query in multiple places. So similarly, here also we are going to create classes and objects to use them in different places wherever we want. Okay, right. So why do we have to reuse? I don't have to explain this. To reduce the work and remove redundancy, you don't have to write the same lines of code again and again. And we are going to use the same lines just by reusing them. By writing only once, we can use it anywhere. Okay. So for example, see, other team member created or worked on a module. We also need the same program. Then we should be able to use it. For example, now let us assume that me, Bobby, Sharap, and Yanji are working on one of the application and we are automating it. Okay. So to automate the functionalities of that application, everybody needs to log into the application. Okay. I have a code that helps me to log into the application. So will you write the code again or will you take help of my code? We four are a team and then I'm writing some code. I have a functionality for login. You also need that functionality. So you'll again start from scratch. No, right? You're going to copy my module or you are going to copy my method or you are going to call my method and use login functionality. You're not going to write the login method again. So that is nothing but reuse. We are not going to do a redundancy of work or duplicate work. We are going to use whatever is already available or whatever we are going to create, which is used in multiple places. So that is reusing. And how do we achieve this reusability? So you understood this, what is reuse, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now how do we achieve this reusability in Java? By using classes, methods, and objects of those classes. So we are going to learn what are classes, what are methods, and what are objects. But for this session, we are going to learn on classes and objects. Later, we'll see methods. Okay. Right. So what is a class? What is an object? See, we have already written a code. But in Java, if you have to write something, you have to create a class file, right? This is our class file. So whatever you write inside this is a class. So why do we need this class? Okay. So what is the purpose of this class? Because see here, I did not write any reusable code. Whatever I wrote here is only applicable in this class, and here only I'm going to use it. Like I am buying a chocolate, I am eating itself, I am eating it and eating there itself. I'm not going to share, I'm not going to use it, I'm not going to give it to anyone. I'm consuming it there itself. Okay, but no, I have a shop where I'm selling chocolates. So anybody who wants to buy a chocolate, they have to come to me and buy a chocolate. All right, two different things. I have chocolates, a shop. So if anybody wants to eat chocolate, they have to do something or they have to invoke me to get that chocolate. they have to pay me to get the chocolate. So there is some action happening, right? For reusability, if you want to sell, you are giving your accessibility. You suppose you have your shop, you have your chocolates, but you kept it in your home, and then nobody knows that you are selling chocolates. So who is going to buy it? What is the purpose of having chocolates with you? No purpose, right? So that is the reason. That is what this scenario. So we have this class. Okay. Now in this place, we are having some code, but we are not reusing it. We are just consuming it there itself. So there is no reusable code here. Though that is why we did not create any objects for this. But when you have some reusable code here and some others wants to use it, so they should know that it is present somewhere. So that is this class. So class is a blueprint. Class is a dummy object. So when we have this, for example, where did we create string reversal? Yeah. You see here, what is the string builder? You see, I'll hover over it. You see, what is it saying? Okay, this is a method. You see. What is it saying? It's a class, right? On the green circle, you see a letter C and then F. So it is a final class. Okay. So this is a class. String builder is a class. Now what did we do? We already created an object for string builder, and we are using that object for our works. Did I write the method for reverse, or in the code inside this reverse? You see, they're using this super dot reverse method where the reversal of string is happening. This is the actual code. Did we write this? No, right? This is the actual code where the reversal of string is happening. But did we write all this logic? No, we didn't write. We didn't do anything here. But still we are able to use it because this logic or the reverse method logic is present in the string builder class, and now we want to use that, so we created an object.
Nikhil, where do you see the logic for the string builder?
Okay, you see this reverse, there is a reverse method that we used here. Control and click on this. You will go to this place. This is a string builder class, but in this string builder class, we are having this, okay, super string. So just a second. Oh, sorry, it is selecting the above one. I want this below one. Okay, string reverse. And then here again, this is a reverse method which is calling the reverse method from somewhere else. Okay, from this parent class. I'm clicking again here. It is taking me to that place. Okay. So this is the source code for reversing the string. Let's ignore it. Yeah. So this reverse method is present in some class called string builder, and from the string builder class we are calling it. That means we are reusing it, right? We already created an object for the string builder class. Similarly, if you want to create some classes where some methods are there and you want to reuse, then we need to create this objects. Understood? So what is a class? It is a structure, and it is also called as a blueprint. In order to use methods or variables from a class, you need to create objects for that instance. Instance is nothing but a class. So whatever you want to, what is a class? It's a structure. We have to follow this class structure. Without this class structure, we will not be able to write anything. Why we have to follow this? Because whatever is written inside this class, Java is going to understand based on the classes only. So this is a, how do we say it? for example, you have a notepad, I mean, not system notepad, you have a notebook and you have each page. So each page is a separate class. Whatever you write in that page will be fixing to that page, right? So in the same way, this class is a file for us. Whatever you write inside this will be present inside this class, and whenever you want to reuse it, you are just going to refer to this page or refer to this class. Okay, so deep, going in deep dive. So if you want to know what is more about these classes, so you see, whenever you are writing this class, actually Java has a parent class for every class. For any class in the world, or for any class in the Java world, if you want to create, the parent of this class will be object class. There is a root class for any class in Java. By default, whether you mention it or you don't mention it, the parent of this class is root class. Okay, so what is happening in the background is this class is following its parent root class. Whatever the attributes or whatever the properties that its parent class has, like a template for all the classes in Java, root class, which is object class, is a template for all these classes. Okay, so that is how Java is constructed. So it is going to understand that, okay, this is a class, so I have to allocate a separate memory for this class and store whatever is present. For example, so this is our total memory allocation. For example, this is our RAM or hard disk or something. Okay, this is our memory allocation. There is one class C1. Okay, I have created a memory for C1. For example, just showing like this. For example, I have created a class C1. Okay, for C1 there is a memory allocated, but inside this class C1, I wrote some variables, some methods, and some other actions. Variables, methods. Okay, so these variables and methods, objects are created inside this class. Like this. Understood? So this is a class. And these are all members. These are all members of a class. So in the total memory, your class object is going to object or class memory is going to be created. In that class memory, again you will have these variables created. Okay, so that is how we are going to use it. That is how, or that is what a class is. Now whenever we want that particular class or that particular members inside that class, we are going to create an instance for that memory, duplicate copy of that. Okay, now so it's okay. Now we understood how do we create class and what is a class. So this is a class. We already know by default we want a class to work on if you want to write something in Java. Okay, it's fine. Now, how do we create objects? If I want to use something inside this class, I need to create objects. Like same reversal, right? String reversal. I want a string reverse method which is present in the string builder class. So what did I do? I created an object for that particular class. This is nothing but creation of object. So whenever we want to reuse a method, a reverse method, we didn't write anything. It is already present in string builder class. So what did I do? I created an object for string builder and I'm reusing the reverse method which is already present in this class. Or I can write on my own, right? Instead of using this reverse method, I can write my own. I wrote this to reverse, and I also wrote this method or wrote this code to reverse a string. Right? Either you can write on your own or reuse what is already present. Okay. So to reuse, we have to create an object for a class, and from that object we are going to call the methods whatever we want to call, access the members of that particular class. Members is nothing but variables and methods. So this main method is a member of C14 class for this class, and str string is a member of this class. This is a method and this is a variable. Okay, this is also a variable. This is also a member of this particular class. So if you want to access any of these members or any of these methods, then you have to create an object for this particular class and access the members of this class using that particular object. Okay. So there are different ways to create objects, but we are going to use only this new keyword because this is the easiest and most widely accepted method to create objects. So that is what we did, new keyword. Whenever you create a new use a new keyword, a new memory allocation will be happening. That you have to remember. Okay. So you see here, when I'm creating an object for string builder class, you see this is a string builder class. Whenever I'm creating an object for this class, I use a new keyword. So what is happening here when I use new keyword? See, I'm not going to make any changes to the string builder class. I just want to reuse the methods, or I just want to use the methods which are present in this string builder class. So if I directly access the memory of the string builder class, what will happen? If I make any changes, everybody will be impacted, right? So that is the reason why what we are doing is we are using new keyword so that whole memory or whole members of this string builder class are copied into a new object which is string builder, this str builder, and a new memory is created inside the memory space. Okay, this string builder is going to have a new memory allocation with all the members of the string builder class. It's a duplicate copy. Xerox of the string builder class is present inside this str builder object. Understood? Like for example, I mean, to make you understand easily, we have an event like a marriage or a birthday function, right? That is happening at our place. But to make it memorable and see it later, we are recording it into videotapes or CDs and then storing them. So if somebody is asking, they want that event, what we'll do? Original copy will be with us. We are going to create a duplicate copy, or we are going to get a new CD and then write everything into that CD and share with them, or we are going to get a new pen drive, copy the code or copy that video into the pen drive and give it to them, right? In a similar way, string builder class is present, but now I want to access the methods or members of the string builder class. So instead of accessing or instead of doing on the original copy, I'm copying everything into the string builder object. Whatever the methods members present inside the string builder will be now accessible by this str builder. Okay. Okay. Now these are the other methods of creating objects. These are only for interview purposes. Okay. We are not going to use it in real time. And this is going to, instead of a single line, these are going to make us write hell lot of code. So that is why we are not going to use this. You can give this information. If somebody asks you in interview how many ways to create an object, there are 5 different ways. Okay, out of which some of them are already deprecated by Java, which means we cannot use them. But still, they might ask you how many ways to create objects. We can give this information. There are total 5 different ways, but we mostly use new keyword to create object for class. You can see this. Okay. Now, we also have a clone method. What is cloning? No, right? Creation of duplicate. Clone means creating same as it is copy, Xerox. So we have a clone method of we have a clone method from the parent class, that is object. So this clone method, so after we create an object, I mean again we are going to use a new keyword. Now we have a object. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use dot clone. str builder dot. We have to make some changes to this to see the code method. Okay. not needed for us to do all this. So I'll directly open page to create object. You see here, here it is explained clearly with the samples. So this is using new keyword that we are going to use, and we already did using new keyword. Okay, this is the object. What is this new keyword example? This is the same class. For the same class, if you want to create an object, you will be still able to do it. With the help of new keyword, he is able to create an object, and with the help of this class name, or with the help of this object, he will be able to access the variable called name, which is outside of the main method. Okay. All right. This is the basic thing that we already use and we are going to use it. See, almost 99% of objects are created in this way. 99% of the times we are going to use it. No, none of the other ways we are going to use it. Okay. And the second way, using what did he use? Okay, using new instance. Okay, there is another method called new instance, which helps us to create a duplicate instance of this same class. Okay, so with the help of that also we can create. For example, I want to create a class for this new object for new instance example. So this is the way that we are going to create it. Okay, so I have to create a new instance. So I'm calling this new instance method. This new instance is of type new instance example. So we are typecasting it. Okay, but to get a class object, we have to get this class into some name, right? So that is this class name. So for which class I want to create an object. So I'm writing this. Okay, I want for this class dot for name. For this class, I want to create an object using new instance. So I stored in this CLS variable and then CLS dot new instance. So don't worry, this is a sample only. We are not going to use this just for the interview purpose. How do we create it? We get a particular class, and on that particular class, we are going to apply new instance method. So this is going to create a duplicate object of the same class. Okay, fine. And then using clone method, and then using clone method. See, when we have already one object, for example, we created an object using new keyword. That means we are again using the new keyword only. This is an object. But now again, if I want to create another object, I'm not going to use new keyword. I can use this clone method to create an object for this. You see, object one dot clone. But to make this clone method available, or to make this clone method working visible for us, you have to override this method. See, this is clone method is from parent class, and this is going to return object. There is already a clone method in our superclass. Now we have to override it. So that is why we have to write this extra code in our class. Why do we have to do that? We can simply create another class or object with the help of new keyword, right? We can do that, but still interviewers will ask you. So I'm showing you this. You can create a clone. You can create an object and use the clone method on it. And this clone method is present in all, is coming from the interface clonable. There is some method already written in clonable class. Okay, we have to override that clone method here. Without overriding this, you won't be able to create a clone object. Okay, right. And then deserialization and serialization, this is a very worst logic or very worst way that we have to create an object. So what are we going to do is, whatever the value is present inside this object, whatever is present, see, it is going to allocate some memory and it is going to have some values inside it. Whatever is present inside this object, we are going to encode them into some random strings. Like we are going to have some encoded value, and that encoded value will be stored inside a file, any file, And then whenever we want to use it, we are going to fetch that file and decode it and then store it in an object. But when we have this simple line, when we use just new keyword, we are going to get an object of this clone example. But what are we doing here? We are doing deserialization, which means we are converting our object into some text and storing it in a file. And whenever we want, we are fetching that object value from that particular file. And also we are encoding it, decoding it. So this is all hell lot of logic, right? Not needed for us. You see here, for example, this is a main method where I'm applying this encoding of this serialize. Okay, this is deserialization, which is decoding. Okay, you see, this is deserialization example. This is a constructor that let's leave it. Now we see, if I want to create an object again, what did I do? I use the new keyword only. Okay, but I'm not using this object directly. I'm not using this D directly. What I'm doing, I'm converting this into a file. You say I created a file object and then doing some file operations and then writing this particular object into that file and then closing that file. Whenever I want it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read that file. I'm going to get that object into this and then read that particular object. Do we need all these operations? Do we need to write all this code just to create an object? No. So nobody is going to use it, but still we have a way. We have the possibility to do it. Serialization and deserialization. You encode an object and then you decode an object. Okay. And then using new instance method. This is also there for you have to get the constructor, and using constructor you have to on the constructor you have to apply this new instance method, which is also creating a new object. So these are all the different ways to create objects for classes. I'll share this URL to you. You can go through them, or you can go through this theory, whatever is present here, and why do we do this, what happens when we do this. Everything is present here. Share this link just for your reference, or even you can do it. You can Google it and find different ways to create an object. But I like this Geeks for Geeks because they'll go in depth. So I'm giving this URL. Okay. I pinged you in the chat. You can take that URL. All right. So those are the 5 different ways to create objects. One, using new keyword. This is the only thing that we are going to use in real time or in theoretical or in practical, whatever. Wherever you go, we are going to use only this way to create objects. These all the other 4, remaining 4 are only for interview purpose. You can just remember this. You can clone an object to create a new object. You can use a new instance method on the constructor. You can use new instance method on the object, and then you can use deserialization and serialization. So this much theoretical part is enough for us to create objects. Is that clear? Real time, we are going to use only this way, but for interview purpose, for in interviews, if they ask you, if we have to answer it, we cannot say that, okay, only new keyword to create an object. So that is the reason I gave you this. These are all the possible ways that we can create an object, but we don't do it. Fine. Can I proceed further? You understood it clearly. I'm proceeding further. All right. So before going to learn about methods, classes, and objects in practical, we need to know something else. What is it? So every class or everything, every code that we write in Java has some area assigned to it. So these classes are having 3 different areas. So we need to be aware of those areas. So if we want to access the members of this area, this particular area, then we need to follow some instructions. Okay. So suppose Sharaf wants to meet Bobby. Both of you are friends, so she can come directly to you, right? Without informing or without appointment is needed. But if you want to meet a doctor, we have to follow some process, right? You have to book an appointment. and on the given time, we have to meet the doctor. You have to pay some fees and meet the doctor. So there is some protocol differences between you and doctor, between you and your friend, right? If you want to speak to your friend, you can call them anytime. You can go to their places at any point of time. But if you want to meet a doctor, that is not the case, right? I'm using very generic examples. Clear, guys? So similarly, here in class also we are having different areas, which is local area, instance area, and static area. Okay, so based on the area or based on the area where the member is present, we will be accessing that member in a different way. Okay, so let us see what is this local area, what is this instance area, and then what is this static area. Okay, so local area, for example, yeah, this is for loop, right? So whatever is created in this for loop is local to that. Whatever is in between this open brace and close brace, this is local to this for loop. Okay, now whatever is created inside this main method, you see, whatever is created inside this main method, that is local to this main method, and whatever is created inside this class is local to the class. Okay, that is local. Okay, which is present in that, inside that is local. Okay, now see here the main method. If you want to create a main method, you have to use a keyword called static. So whatever is present inside the static method is complete static area. This is a static area, right? Because static is present for this method. So this all members or whatever is present inside this will become static members or static area. So if there is a keyword called static, and inside that block, if you have some code or that block area is called a static area. Okay, and inside the class, if you write anything over here without the static keyword, then that will be instance area. For example, I'll create a variable string str. Okay, I will not create str, I will create string area is equals to, I'm going to assign some value, sample string. See, I'm able to create a variable area test inside this class outside of this main method. So this area which is outside of static member and inside the class is called as instance area. If you do not see the keyword called static, then that is instance. But if you have a keyword called static for this, so static string area test, I have to use static before. Now this area test is a static member, not instance member, because this is having the keyword called static. If we are seeing the keyword called static, then this will become static member. If you are not having the static keyword, then that will become instance member. That is the only difference, static member and instance member. Local means we already know whatever is present inside this class is local to this class. This is not a foreign object. This is a local object or local members, which is local to this particular class. Local, static, and instance. Local we can, that is just for namesake, but we have to concentrate on static area or static member and instance area and instance member. Okay, understood? So if you have a keyword called static, I know I'll explain what is static, what is the difference between static and instance, but for now you understood, right? What is static area, what is instance area? If anything which is present inside the static method, that all goes into static area. These are all static. This is complete. This area is completely static area. Whatever is present inside this static method. Whatever is present outside of the static method without having the static keyword is instance area. This is all instance area, and this is an instance member. This is a static member because it is present inside the static area, right? So this is a static member and this is an instance member.
இதை உங்களுக்கு சொல்லிடணுமா? இந்த சென்டர் ஃபெசிலிட்டி
Okay. Bobby, was that some question to me? Okay, fine. All right. So we are having these three different areas. Okay. So local area, what is that local area? Which is specific to that method or block. Creates when method starts and ends when method finishes. It uses stack memory allocation. So we have two different kinds of memories. That is stack memory and heap memory. You remember what is stack and what is heap? Do you know what is stack and what is heap? Stack memory. So stack means, okay, let me show you. This is heap memory. This is a memory where whenever you create some objects, it will be created in some different places. There is no particular order where we creating these objects inside this heap memory. This is heap. Okay, and we have a stack. So whenever you create an object, that will be placed here. Okay, and if you want to create another object, that will be placed on top of it. If you want another object, that will be placed on top of it. Stack, one above the other. This is stack memory. So whenever you are using this, whenever you are using this local area or local members, those will be placed in the stack memory. Okay. Why they are going to be stored inside the stack memory is because once there is a concept called garbage collection that is not needed for us, and Java does that automatically. We don't have to do any garbage collection. That means, for example, we have created a variable here and stored a value inside this. All right, we have used it here and then we have done some operations here. But when at the end, do we still need the memory allocated for the string variable inside the memory of our system? It has to be cleared, right? Once we are done with this work, it should not be present in our memory. It should be removed. So that removal, whatever unused or whatever there is no usage further, those objects, if you want to remove, that part is being done by the garbage collection. Whatever there are, whenever there are unused variables or not used, we are not going to use it anymore. Then those unused variables are being collected by garbage collector. Actually, in C language or other languages, we have to perform on our own that garbage collection. But in Java, garbage collection is implemented by default, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So that garbage collection has to remove the objects one by one, line by line, once the program is completed. So that is why they are using stack memory. And then instance area, whatever is present inside this instance area is going to be stored in a heap memory. Just remember it. Local members are stored in stack memory and instance members are stored in heap memory. Okay. So what is static area? The area inside a static method is called as static area, or any member which is having or which is using the keyword static is called as static member. Okay, so that is what I have shown you here as well. So if we have static keyword and whatever is present inside that method becomes static area. So whatever variable that is present inside the static member is a static variable. Static member, sorry, not static variable, it is a static member. Okay. Now, this keyword is present outside of the static area and inside the class, and it does not have a static keyword used here. So this will become instance member. Okay. So that is the difference between that is static area, instance area, and local area. Now we have some rules. Okay, we have some rules to access these methods or variables for different areas. So we have static areas different, instance areas different, local areas different. Okay, so if you want to access from local area, you don't have to do anything. You will be able to access them directly because they are local to that member, local to that method. You don't have to call or you don't have to create any object. You don't have to do anything if it is a local area. But for instance area and static area, there are some rules. Okay. So what are those rules and how can we access them is what we are going to see now with practical examples. Okay. So these are the rules, okay, for accessing. Suppose there is a member, for instance, there is a method in instance variable instance area, and I want to access it from instance area. Instance to instance. Instance variables are methods, and we need to access it inside instance area. If we are using it in the same class, then we are going to use them directly. No need of creation of any object. We can use it directly. But if we are using in another classes, we have to create an object for the class and then use it. Okay, let's see now. I'm going to create. Did I create already a separate class? Okay. Now I'm going to create a new class. New class C14 is there. C14 underscore classes underscore objects underscore areas. Okay. I need a main class. All right. This is one of the class I'm having. Now I'm going to create another class here. Class other class. Okay. So this is one class and this is other class. See, just to show you live, I'm having these two classes in the same page, but we can also think that this is also another class. This is also another class I can take, but while explaining I have to go here, there, here and there. So that is why I'm having these two classes in the same place. Okay, just to explain. Now here I'm going to create some variables. Okay, string. String. What I'm going to use? Okay, string. Instance data is equals to. I'm going to save some here. This is from. See, I did not use any static keyword, and then this is inside the class. So this is, will become instance member. So this is from instance area. Okay. Next, I'm going to use static string static data is equals to. This is static member string. Since I'm using this static keyword, this will become a static member. Okay, this is not an instance member now. This is a static member. Okay. All right. Now, see, don't worry now. Let's see first what is instance, what is static, and how do we use them. Then later I'll show you the difference of what is static, what is instance member, what is the purpose. We have two different things, and why, when should, what should be used. All these things we'll see once we understood what is instance, what is static, and how do we access them from other class. Okay. Once that is done, then we'll see. Okay. All right. So for now, we haven't completed any concept of methods, but still I'm going to create some method over here. Okay, just follow it. Public static void add. Okay. Since I used this static keyword, this area will become static area. So this, whatever I wrote, whatever I write here will be a static. Okay. This is inside add static method. Okay. Then I'm going to write another method, public void multiply. See, here I'm not using any static keyword, so this will become instance area. Okay. All right. So this is inside multiply instance method. Okay. So if I'm using static, that becomes static area. If I'm not using static, that becomes instance. So I have a static method, instance method, a static variable, instance variable, static variable, and instance variable. Now we have this class. Okay, super. Now, if I want to access all these things, this will become static. That's fine. All right. So first example or first data or first thing is accessing instance members or instance variables inside the instance area. Okay, fine. Now this is an instance variable and this is an instance method. And this member and this method both are present in the same class, right? So if I want to use this instance member data, I can use it directly. See, so instance member data. You see, I don't have to create any object. It is not throwing me any error. This instance member data is accessible inside this instance area. Okay. All right. Let me create another member here. Public void subtract. Okay. See, so this is instance subtract method. Okay. Now this is again instance. So this is a method and I want to access it in the multiply method. So I can directly call this method like this. I don't have to create any object. It is not throwing any error. See? So instance to instance of the same class, we can access them directly. But see here, I have this instance member here in this class. I want to access it inside this class. If I want to access this member inside this class, I have to create an object for this class. To create an object, what is the way? Other class. Obj is equals to new other class. This is the syntax we create an object. Okay. Now, if I want to access this instance member data, I can use this keyword obj dot. I wrote it inside the class. That should be inside the method. Okay. Now you see, if I use obj dot, do you see this instance member data? See this? Right, instance member data. If you want to use it in another class, you should definitely use this. I have to print it because that is a variable, right? Either I have to store it in some variable or I have to print it. So I'm printing it. So if I want to use this value in my class, which is okay, instance area to instance area of other class, but this becomes static area. This is also another example. What I'm going to do is I'll create another class, subclass 2. Okay. Now here I want this instance member data. So I'll create an object here, and then I cannot print it. There is no method. Create string value is equals to. See? Now if I want to access, let me bring it up. You're able to see it, right? So this is one of the class. This is one of the class where I'm having this instance member data, but I want to use this instance member in other class. This is another class. I want to access this instance member in the other class. So if I have to access it, then I have to create an object and then call it. Then only this class will understand, okay, I want to call this instance member data, but from where? From this class, from this object. What is this object consisting of? This object has members of other class. Okay, we have to do this because there might be other classes where we have the same variable or we have the same method. Okay, and the similar logic goes for instance members. So we have multiply and subtract. Okay, obj dot. You see this? That's fine. I'll create public void.
Nikhil, we couldn't hear you, Nikhil. Your
Sorry?
voice was broken. Nikhil, are you talking?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Are you not able to hear me?
Now we can hear. Before your voice went down, when you started the other class, same when you something.
When I started this.
No. In the subclass, live
Okay. Yeah, fine, got it. I'll explain again. See, this is one class and this is another class, and we have this instance member, and whatever inside the class we are writing, this is instance area, because inside the class is instance area, because there is no static keyword here. So this becomes instance area. So I want to access this instance member in instance area of another class. Okay, that is what we are trying to achieve now. Instance members in instance area. If it is in the same class, this is instance member and this is also instance member in the same class, then I'll be able to access this variable directly here. You see, directly I'm accessing here. But if I want to access this instance member in the instance area of other class, then I have to create an object. Created an object, and via that object, I should be able to access this member. Okay, right. Now, this one, again, I have this object dot. If I want to access the method, we have instance method multiple. Where is this? Where did it go? Multiply. Okay, and then I have obj dot. You should also see multiply. Yeah, you see here multiply from other class. That's all. So instance member and instance method from other class. If you are trying to access those instance members from the other class, then you need to create an object. But instance member and instance method from the same class, you can access them directly. Did I create object here? No, I directly use the variable and I directly called the method. But if I have to use the same instance members in other class, I mean in a separate class or in a different class, I have to create an object, and via that object, this instance member and method will be accessible. Okay. All right. This is the first one. Instance to instance area. Okay. Now, if you want to see something printed on the console, then I have to create an object of this class in the main class. This becomes a static and this is an instance area. So that is in another example, static to instance. So when we go here, I'll show you that by printing. Okay. Now you understood what, how do we access instance members in instance area? If it is in the same class, instance member, instance variable and instance method, we want to access them in the instance area of the same class, then we are able to use it directly. If you want to use this instance variable and instance method outside of this class and inside the instance area, this is instance area again for this class. So outside of this class and inside this class, instance area. So we have to create an object for this class and access the members. We cannot directly use instance member data or multiply, because this class should understand from where this instance member data and multiply should come. Okay, so that is why we have to create an object. This is instance to instance. Okay, now, all right, I want to create static member here. So, static void display. Okay, creating a method called display, which is a static method. Okay, now Inside this static method, I want to access this static member. Oh, no. Our next example is instance methods or static area. So I'm not going to worry about the static member for now. I'm going to worry about this instance member inside this static area. If I want to use this instance member inside this static area, I cannot use directly like this. You see, it will throw an error here. You see? Is it throwing an error? What is it saying? Cannot make a static reference to the non-static field instance member data. This is a static area, but this is a non-static member. So non-static member, which is instance member cannot be used in static area directly, even if it is in the same class or the other class. If it is instance to static, then we have to create an object for this, for accessing this. So to create an object, where is it present, in which class? This is present in other class. All right. I'm going to create an object for this other class. Other class Pj is equals to new other class. Now I have to use this object. You see, the error is gone. So if you want to access an instance member inside static area, inside variable or instance member, then you have to use object. Otherwise, you won't be able to call them. See here, subtract. You see, here I was able to call them directly. I did not use any object. Right? I did not use any object because these are instance method. This is an instance method and this is an instance variable, and I'm accessing them inside the instance area. So no need of creating object. But now the same instance member and instance method I am trying to access inside a static area. It was throwing me error if I try to access them directly. So what we have to do? We have to create an object and then call them. Understood? Clear? Okay. So we have seen instance to instance and instance to static. Instance to static, whether it might be from the same class or the other class, we have to create an object and use. There is no difference. Okay. Now let's go to static to instance. Okay. Now this is a static member and this is an instance area. Right. Now I want to access this static member inside this instance area. I cannot use the variable name directly. So, see, yeah. So this is static member and this is instance area, and I'm trying to print that static member inside this area of the same class. Then I can use this directly. I write the same by using class name. Okay. Actually, we have to use this by class name. Static member inside the instance area. In the same class, it is going to access directly. No problem. You can access this, but this is not the right way to use. Want to access static member inside the instance area, then you have to use like this. Class name dot. Like this. Okay. The same goes in the other class as well. Now, this is instance area, and then I have the static member data. So if I try to access this static member data with the help of object, string static data is equals to obj dot static member data. Okay, I will be able to access it. But you see, it is throwing a warning. What is the warning? The static field other class member data should be accessed in a static way. This is, you can still use with the help of object, but that is not the right way. If you want to access a static member of other class in the instance area, then you have to use class name directly. You can use it with the help of class name. You don't have to create this object. Now see, the error is warning is gone from here. Right? The warning is gone from here because we are accessing it in a static way. If you want to access static members of other class in static member of a class in another class, then you have to use the class name dot, that variable name. Okay. Even same, if you want to call a method of static member, okay, I have this static method display, and this is instance area. If I want to call that object dot display, you can call this, but this will throw an error, I mean warning. See, again, static method display from the type other class name should be accessed in a static. You can access like this, still it will work, it will not throw any error, but this is not the appropriate, because this is a static member from other class, so you have to use class name dot. You see the warning is gone. Okay, so that is static to instance from the same class and for the other class. Even if it is the same class or the other class, you are going to use just class name. Okay, static member in instance area might be in the same class or the other class, you are going to use the class name. Okay, by using class either in the same class or on the other class. You can also use this with the help of object, but that is not the right way. It will. Okay. Now let us see the last one, static members inside static area. We can do this with the help of all these three. You can access them using a class name, you can create an object and use them, you can also use them directly if it is in the same class. Okay, static to static. Now let's see that. Static to static of same class. This is the class and this is the static area and this is the static member. Now I want to use them directly. Okay. I use static member data directly. So static member data inside the static area I can use directly if it is in the same class. Okay. All right. And then I can also use it with the class name. Other class dot static member data. This is also this is also another way you can use with the class name. No problem. It is not giving any warning or not giving any error. You can use them directly or you can use them with the help of class name, or you can also use them with the help of this object. Have it here. This is also static area. Right? Okay, I'll do that. See here. Static member data inside the static area. I'm accessing them directly or using the class name, and we already have an object here, so I can also use it with the help of obj dot static member data. You see, we can access in these three different ways, but this will throw a warning because that is a static member and you are accessing static area, so no need of using object. But still, no problem. You can access it with this way as well. Okay. Right. Static to static of same class, you can use in this manner. Or static to static of other class. If this static members needs to be accessed in other class static area, then we have to access them by using the class name. See? Like this. This is a static area of this class and this member is from other class. If I want to access static member inside the static area, I have to use this by class name. Okay. We can use them directly. I mean, this will be applicable only if it is in the same class. But if it is in the other class, you can use any of these methods. We cannot use them directly because there is no static member data here. So we have to use only this way, class name dot static member data. Okay. other class dot. You see only static members will be displayed here. Add and display. But what about multiply? Do we see multiply here? No, because this is a static area and we will be able to access only static members directly. If you want to this instance member, instance to static, what we have to do? We have to create an object. Understood the difference between this or how do we access them? Here I have written clearly. If you want to access instance variables or methods inside instance area, you can directly use if they are in the same class, or you need an object if it is in the other class. And instance members in the static area, you can create an object and use. It might be in the same class or other class. You have to create an object and then static to instance. Then we have to use by class name, and static to static we can use by class name or by creating an object, or if it is in the same class, you can access them directly. Understood? So here is the different ways. How do we access them? Just remember this. Instance to instance, directly use if it is in the same class, or create an object. Instance to static, then use the object. There is no other option. We have to create an object and use. Static to instance, we can use by class name. Static to static, we have all the ways. Most flexible. You can use the class name. You can create an object and use it, or you can directly use that if it is in the same class. Okay. So these are all the ways that we can create, or these are the different areas that we can access. Okay. So it's already 8:20. Let's stop our session for today. Tomorrow I'll show you what is the difference between static area and instance area, why we have two different areas, what happens when we alter or when we change something from instance area, what happens when we alter or change something from static area. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So any questions in today's topic? I know it's pretty theoretical and then just conceptual wise. We did not see any sample code, but just saw how do we access them, right? Right. So any questions in this? Or do you have any questions in my previous sessions? If you have, we can discuss them.
Have you already uploaded yesterday's video?
No, Sharab, I haven't uploaded the videos yet, but the class files and notes are already uploaded. I'll upload the videos right after this class. Yesterday I was having some problem with internet.
No worries, because yesterday I missed, so I will check it.
Yeah, I'll upload today.
Okay. And also, okay. Thank you.
Is that class notes time sensitive? Do we note it down? Do we need to download?
Not able to understand anything about it. I heard only word called download. What do you want to download?
It's your class notes on the Google. Is time sensitive?
Yeah, I already uploaded these class files and notes inside the
No. Do we need to download before some time? Otherwise it will expire, or you can have it for a long time.
It will not expire. It will be there for lifetime. You can, if you want, you can download and keep it with you. See, I'm using. Okay, I'll stop the recording and then discuss.